The year is 1964. The New York World's Fair is buzzing with excitement. People are everywhere, laughing, exploring, marveling at the future. And in the middle of all this, magic is a young boy named Frank. He is a child genius, and today is the most important day of his life. Frank has built a jetpack. Not a toy, not a model, a real working jetpack. Or at least that's the idea. He carries it proudly to the inventors competition, hoping to impress the judges and show the world what he's capable of. The head judge is a serious man named Nix. When Frank steps up and presents his jetpack, Nix is actually impressed. For about 30 seconds. Then he asks the question that changes everything. Does it actually work? Frank hesitates. Then he tells the truth. Not yet. Nix immediately loses interest. He turns Frank away. No working invention, no entry. Simple as that. Frank walks away crushed. Every doubt his father ever planted in his head comes rushing back. All those times he was told he was wasting his time, that his ideas were foolish, that he would never amount to anything. He feels completely alone. But then, a girl appears beside him. Her name is Athena. She is Nix's young assistant, and there is something different about her, something warm and knowing in her eyes. She reaches into her pocket and hands Frank a small orange pin with a blue letter T on it. Then she quietly tells him to follow her and Nix, but to stay hidden. Don't let anyone see you. Frank follows at a distance. Nix leads his group toward one of the fair's most popular attractions, a classic boat ride. The line is enormous, so Frank slips around the side and quietly drops into an empty boat floating in the middle of the ride. As the boat drifts through the dark tunnel, something unexpected happens. A laser beam scans the pin on Frank's jacket. A trapdoor opens beneath the boat. The whole thing plunges downward into darkness. Frank lands in a strange, futuristic-looking wagon. Excited, he steps inside. Immediately, metal blinds slam shut over every window and door. The wagon begins shaking violently. Frank is thrown to the floor and can't get up until the shaking finally stops. When the doors open, Frank steps out onto a platform surrounded by thick fog. He has no idea where he is. Then a flying car zooms past him through the mist. He catches a glimpse of Athena and Nix inside. Frank tries to run after them, but giant robots suddenly block his path. He dodges their mechanical arms, twisting and running across the platform, until he accidentally falls off the edge and lands on a lower level. The jetpack breaks from the impact. A friendly robot appears, picks up the broken jetpack, and begins fixing it right there on the spot. Then it hands the jetpack back to Frank, fully repaired. At that moment, a group of guards rushes in to capture him. Frank backs up to the platform edge and falls again. But this time, he has the jetpack strapped on. He hits the activation switch. The jetpack roars to life. Frank shoots up into the sky, cutting through the fog, and what he sees below him takes his breath away. A massive, gleaming city stretches out in every direction. Towers of glass and light, flying vehicles weaving between buildings, people dressed in futuristic clothes moving through clean, bright streets. This is Tomorrowland, a place where the greatest minds on Earth have gathered to create, invent, and imagine without any limits. Frank lands next to Athena, grinning from ear to ear. He finally got the jetpack to work. He tries to show Nix, but Nix ignores him completely. Athena simply takes Frank's hand and shows him around. This is your life now, she tells him. Welcome. Many years pass. It is now 2015. Frank is long gone from the story for now, but a teenage girl named Casey is about to become the center of it. Casey is smart, stubborn, and full of fight. Her father, Eddie, works as a NASA engineer, but the launch site where he works is about to be demolished, and when the demolition happens, Eddie loses his job. Casey refuses to accept this, so she sneaks into the NASA facility at night and starts sabotaging the equipment. Cranes, machines, tools. She disables everything she can find. Watching from the shadows is Athena. She has been watching Casey for a while now. After Casey sneaks back home, Athena follows her to the driveway, takes a small scanner, and collects Casey's DNA from her bike helmet. She uses it to program a Tomorrowland pin, the last one she has. The next morning, Eddie gets a call from work. Casey thinks her sabotage worked, but Eddie explains that they're just bringing in replacement cranes. Her plan changed nothing. He tells her to stop, but Casey pushes back. Giving up hope is never the answer, she says. Keeping hope alive matters more than anything. That evening, Casey tries again, but this time the police are waiting for her. She gets arrested. A few hours later, someone pays her bail. Casey goes to collect her belongings at the front desk and finds something unusual in the tray. A small orange pin with a blue T. She touches it. Instantly, she sees a vision. A stunning, futuristic city shimmering in golden light. Then the pin slips from her fingers and she's back in the police station. She touches it again. Same vision. She grabs it properly this time and tries to walk toward the city, but she keeps bumping into things in the real world. people, walls, chairs. The pin only shows her the vision. She's still physically in the station. To avoid making more of a scene, Casey wraps the pin in a piece of gum wrapper and pockets it carefully. Eddie arrives to take her home. On the drive back, he lectures her about her reckless behavior. Casey tries to make him understand. She shoves the pin into his hand, promising it will explain everything, but when Eddie touches it, absolutely nothing happens. He sees no vision, no city, nothing. Casey grabs it back and instantly the vision appears for her again. So it only works for her. She tucks that information away. At home that night, Eddie puts the pin on his nightstand. After he falls asleep, Casey creeps in and takes it back. The moment she touches it, the vision begins again. She tries walking through Tomorrowland inside her house and immediately crashes into walls, tumbles down the stairs, and makes enough noise to wake her father up. Casey hides until things calm down. Then she takes the pin outside to an open field where she has room to move. She touches it, and this time, she's really there. She walks through Tomorrowland fully, stepping onto a train that carries her deeper into the gleaming city. She notices a small timer on the pin slowly counting down. She spots a group of important-looking scientists boarding a different kind of wagon and tries to follow them. But just then, water starts rising around her. The timer is almost at 0. Casey fights through it, trying to stay, but Tomorrowland dissolves around her, and she finds herself standing in a swamp in the middle of nowhere. When she gets home, she wakes up her younger brother Nate and asks for the password to their father's computer. Together they search online and find an ad, a store that buys these unusual pins. Casey writes down the address. She tells Nate to cover for her with their dad and says she's going camping with friends. The next morning, Athena shows up at the house. Nate gives her the camping story. Athena stares at him quietly. She knows he's lying. She presses him gently, calmly, until he finally breaks and tells the truth. Casey arrives at the shop from the ad. The two clerks behind the counter light up the moment they see the pin. Yes, they say, what Casey saw was real. Tomorrowland is a real place, built by the greatest scientific minds in history, hidden away from governments and greed, a place where pure creativity could thrive. The only way in is through the pin. The clerks offer to buy it and start asking where Casey got it. When Casey won't answer, one of them hits a button, the doors lock, and both clerks pull out futuristic plasma weapons. Casey dives behind the merchandise and tries to hide. The clerks find her. They demand to know about some girl. Just as things are about to get very bad, a grenade smashes through the shop window. It explodes into a force field, freezing both clerks solid in a bubble of energy. Athena walks in calmly, armed and composed. She explains it's a time bomb and won't last long. She helps Casey get her hand unstuck from the field, but that accidentally shuts the bomb off early. The force field drops. The clerks are free. They attack. What follows is a wild fight. Athena throwing punches, Casey hurling merchandise from the shelves, the two of them working together against the clerks. At one point, Athena rips the head off one of the clerks. Wires and circuits spill out. Casey stares in disbelief. Both clerks are animatronics, robots. Athena grabs Casey and drags her out just as both clerks begin to self-destruct. The shop explodes behind them. Athena breaks into a parked car, gets it running with a special tool, and shoves Casey inside. As they speed down the road, Casey starts asking questions. Athena explains she was the one who gave Casey the pin, but before she can say more, Athena's body suddenly glitches. Her voice cuts in and out. Her movements stutter and freeze. Then she calmly reaches up and fixes herself. Casey watches in horror. Athena is an animatronic too. Terrified, Casey throws the car door open and jumps out while they're still moving. Athena chases her down the road on foot, right into the path of a truck. The truck slams into Athena at full speed. The driver jumps out to check on her. Casey seizes the moment and steals the truck. But Athena is completely fine. She gets up, runs after the truck, leaps through the window, grabs the keys, and locks the door. Casey screams. Athena waits patiently for her to calm down. Then she tells Casey the truth. Casey has the last Tomorrowland pin, and they need to get there fast because someone built something they were never supposed to build. Something dangerous. Meanwhile, back at the destroyed shop, police have arrived and are examining the wreckage. A man named Dave shows up, introducing himself as Secret Service. He takes one look at the burned robot head on the ground, pulls out a futuristic weapon, and shoots every officer on the scene without hesitation. He turns to his team and delivers the message: they've found the girl. Nix needs to know. Athena drives Casey across the country toward New York. Casey keeps asking questions, but Athena stays mostly quiet, shutting down conversations before they go too far. When Casey finally falls asleep, Athena drives in silence and quietly replays memories of old times in her mind. The next morning, Casey is jolted awake as Athena suddenly pushes her out of the truck in front of a house in the countryside and drives away. Casey has no choice but to walk up to the house. A guard dog immediately comes charging at her, snarling and barking. She trips and falls face first in the mud. Then she notices the dog isn't leaving paw prints. She waves her hand through it. It's a hologram. She gets up, brushes off the mud, and walks straight to the front door. She shows her pin to the camera and asks to be taken to Tomorrowland. A sudden blast of air shoots her backward. The door swings open and an older man steps out. This is Frank, all grown up now, weathered and closed off. He demands to know where Athena is. Then he goes back inside and locks the door. Casey doesn't leave. She sits outside in the rain and waits. Eventually, she gets up and looks around for a way in. She spots an old plow truck nearby. She sets it on fire. Frank comes sprinting out to deal with the flames. While he's distracted, Casey runs inside and locks the door behind her. When Frank tries to get back in, she turns his own burst of air device against him and pushes him away. She starts exploring the house. It is filled with incredible inventions. Strange machines, gadgets, blueprints, and technology far ahead of its time. One machine plays an old recording. Young Frank trying to make Athena laugh. Athena telling him to stop. Something about it is quietly heartbreaking. In another room, dozens of screens display live news feeds from around the world, and at the center of it all is a timer, slowly counting down towards 0. A hidden door under the staircase opens, and Frank slips back in. He's ready to throw Casey out, but she asks him to just give her answers. Explain what's happening. He does. Frank was kicked out of Tomorrowland for building the thing connected to that timer. The machine on the screens tracks the probability of the world ending. He asks Casey if she would want to know the exact date of her death. She says yes, but then she adds something important. Knowing it and accepting it are different things. Accepting death as inevitable might actually cause it. She believes people have to be able to choose their own destiny. The moment she finishes saying it, the percentage on the screen drops slightly. Frank stares at the screen. He can't believe it. Their conversation is cut short. Dave and his team of robots have found the house. Frank activates every defensive system he has. Metal blinds drop. Electric traps in the walls fire. Hidden trap doors open under robots' feet. One robot gets electrocuted. 2 more fall through the floor. Frank fights another hand-to-hand, and Casey grabs a strange portal device and shoves the robot inside it. They make their way upstairs, taking down robot after robot using Frank's incredible array of traps, until Dave catches up and holds Frank at gunpoint. Casey finds a bat and beats Dave until he drops. Frank grabs Casey and pulls her into the bathroom. They climb into the tub. Frank hits a switch and the tub transforms into a sealed launch capsule. One last robot grabs for them just as the capsule blasts off, shooting through the roof, arcing through the sky, and splashing down in a nearby lake. They swim to shore, disappear into the woods, and find Frank's hidden motorbike. It won't start. But before they can figure out another plan, a light appears in the dark. It's Athena, arriving in the truck to collect them. The 3 of them hit the road. Frank and Athena immediately start arguing. It comes out that all Tomorrowland pins were supposed to be destroyed years ago, but Athena secretly kept a box of 12 and kept on recruiting people with them. Frank is furious. He doesn't want more young people dragged into this mess. He turns to Casey and tells her the truth about Athena. She doesn't actually shut down when you ask too many questions. She just ignores you. All that warmth, all those emotions. Frank believes she performs them to draw people in, then leaves them behind. Athena says nothing, but something in her expression suggests she is hurt. They arrive at a local railway station where Frank has secretly set up a transmission network connected to his house. A teleportation capsule waits for them inside. They suit up in protective gear, step in, and activate the system. When they step out, they are standing at the very top of the Eiffel Tower. Frank explains everything as they move. Gustave Eiffel, Jules Verne, Nikola Tesla, and Thomas Edison were the original founders of Tomorrowland. They used the Eiffel Tower as a giant antenna to open a passage to the other world. There have always been rumors of a secret entrance hidden inside the tower. Frank searches around and finds it. He activates it. The Eiffel Tower splits open down the middle, revealing a rocket hidden inside its structure. The trio rushes inside as more robots come pouring in after them. The rocket ignites. The blast of energy from the launch blows the robots off the tower, and the rocket shoots upward into the sky. After reaching a great height, it turns and dives back down at incredible speed, tearing open a portal as it falls. They shoot through it. They arrive in Tomorrowland, but it's not the golden, thriving city Frank remembered. It is quieter now, dimmer. The authorities spot them immediately. They're surrounded. Nix, the city's governor, the same judge who turned away young Frank at the World's Fair all those years ago, arrives to have them arrested. But Frank and Athena stop him in his tracks with one piece of information. Casey was able to lower the percentage on the screens just by talking. Nix goes pale. He takes them to headquarters. At the center of the building is Frank's invention, the tachyon machine. It uses particles that travel faster than light to observe time itself. As they ride the elevator up, Casey sees flashes of the future projected as holograms around her, brief, flickering moments of things that haven't happened yet. Inside the machine, Frank shows Casey how to use it. She reaches back through history at dizzying speed, moving forward through time until she sees it. In 58 days, the world ends. Casey demands to know why no one on Earth is being warned. Nix answers coldly. He doesn't care about Earth. That world will end. But Tomorrowland will survive, and he will not allow Earth's people to come here and destroy this place the way they destroyed their own. Casey refuses to accept his logic. Her defiance causes the screen to flicker for just a moment, showing a different future, a better one. Frank jumps on it immediately. This proves there is another possibility, he argues. Nix knocks them all out. When Frank comes to, Athena is there. They are being prepared for deportation, sent back to Earth through a portal, cut off from Tomorrowland forever. Casey wakes up furious. She snaps at Frank and Athena, accusing them of lying to her and leading her on a pointless chase. Then, mid-rant, she stops. Something clicks. Frank has been pirating the tachyon machine's signal and broadcasting it to screens in his house. But that signal doesn't just stay in his living room. It radiates outward across the entire planet, beaming visions of doom directly into the minds of billions of people. Every news broadcast about catastrophe, every doomsday headline, every quiet, hopeless feeling people can't quite explain, it is all being fed by this signal. The world has been receiving a broadcast of its own destruction and slowly accepting it as inevitable. But Casey's optimism cracked the screen. Her belief in a different future flickered a better world into view, even if just for a second. If the signal is what's causing people to give up, then turning it off might give humanity the chance to imagine something better. The guards come to escort them out. Casey tells Nix what she has figured out. She asks him to shut the machine down. Nix says there is no off switch. The calmness in his voice tips Frank off. This wasn't an accident. Nix chose this. Nix explains his reasoning. He tried to warn governments about the coming catastrophe. No one listened. So he decided to send the warning straight into the global unconscious, to make people feel the weight of the end so that they would fight to prevent it. But it didn't work that way. Instead of rising to the challenge, people accepted the end as inevitable and stopped trying. In his eyes, this is not the machine's fault. This is who humanity is. Frank pretends to agree. He reaches out and shakes Nix's hand, and in that handshake, he touches Nix's bracelet and secretly reactivates the machine platform. Everything breaks loose at once. Athena and Casey knock out the guards. Frank and Nix fight for the bracelet. Two robots go after Athena and Casey. Frank had earlier hidden a bomb inside Athena's body for exactly this moment, but the robots grab her before she can use it. Athena passes the bomb to Casey and keeps fighting. Casey runs onto the platform. The whole thing is lurching and spinning wildly as Frank and Nix wrestle for control. On the other side of the portal, Athena gets hold of one of the robots and uses it to shove the other one through the portal, straight into Nix, knocking him back. Casey reaches the bomb and prepares to throw it. Then Nix grabs the bracelet back and yanks the platform down. Athena rushes in with her robot, catches the platform, and runs to the control panel to close the portal. The second robot is destroyed. Frank and Nix are left on the wrong side of the closing portal, scrambling back through just in time. They throw the bomb through the closing portal, and it detonates safely on the other side. The portal collapses and falls directly on top of Nix. He's pinned beneath it, but there's a gun nearby. Nix reaches for it. He aims at Frank. Athena sees it happening. She has a flash of the future. She sees Frank getting shot. She runs. She puts herself between Frank and the bullet. The shot that was meant for Frank hits Athena instead. Casey grabs the gun from Nix. Frank drops to his knees beside Athena and tells her they need to get her to a repair center. There's still time. Athena shakes her head. There isn't, but there is something she needs him to know before she goes. She begins playing recordings, voice diaries she kept over all the years they were apart. Little Frank used to have a crush on her. When he realized she was a machine, it broke something in him. It hurt her too, and she recorded it all. Every moment he made her feel something that robots were never supposed to feel. She kept every single one. Frank listens. His eyes fill. Athena tells him she never stopped believing in him. Not once. Her body begins to power down. She tells Frank what she needs him to do. Use her explosion to destroy the machine. Frank picks her up and straps on the jetpack. The same kind of jetpack he built as a boy at a World's Fair a lifetime ago. He flies her up high above the machine. They say goodbye. He lets go. Athena falls into the heart of the tachyon machine. The explosion is massive. The entire structure tears itself apart from the inside. Debris rains down and buries Nix beneath it. Tomorrowland goes dark. The power dies. Frank fights the jetpack controls and manages to bring himself down to a rough but survivable landing in the river below. Casey runs to him as they sit together, catching their breath, talking about what comes next. Flashes of possible futures flicker around them, and the answer becomes clear. First, Frank rebuilds the portal so Casey can go home and be reunited with her family. Then, together, they start over. They design a new generation of robots, built in Athena's image, carrying her purpose. These robots travel through portals to every corner of the world, moving quietly through crowds, through classrooms, through laboratories and workshops and garages. And in each place, they leave something behind. A small orange pin with a blue T. Not for everyone, only for the ones who still believe the future can be better. The dreamers, the builders, the stubborn optimists who refuse to accept the end of the world as inevitable. The ones like Casey, the ones like Frank. Because Tomorrowland was never just a place. It was a promise that if enough brilliant, hopeful minds come together with the freedom to imagine and the will to build, anything is possible. And somewhere out there, the next generation of those minds is waiting to be found.